It's 8:30 on a Thursday night. There's plenty to talk about. I was hoping to have a lot more rugby games to talk about, but there's quite a little bit of drama there. We'll chat and get Gary's opinion on that. I see a number of guys in the live broadcast already. Kevin Turner, Robert G. Hindemont. Welcome to all of you guys. Vin Naidu, good to have you on the chat. I am a little bit worried that Gary's connection is gone. He seems to have frozen there just for a second. Gary, are you still there? Gary has frozen, so we'll just wait for him to come back on there. But guys, yeah, the big news today, of course, breaking this morning, certainly when I woke up, was the fact that two of the matches are cancelled already, being England and France, the one, and of course New Zealand and Italy, which is massive news for this World Cup, particularly the England-France game. They were first and second on the table, no doubt about it. But, you know, it certainly makes England's run in particular, I think, quite a bit easier. Gary's also been cancelled, says Helgat there. Guys, just something a little bit interesting. Well, it'll actually be on our next show. We're going to try to go live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, and we'll see how that goes. Gary is going to come back in now. Hopefully it'll be okay. Guys, if I can just ask, can you hear me clearly? I am trying a new system today, here comes Gary, I think. Let's see. Gary, you there?
But I still can't hear you.
You can't hear me, Gary?
Can you hear me now, Brent?
Yeah, loud and clear, Gary.
Okay, now I've got you. Okay, that seems to be resolved. Well done with those upgrades, by the way, you know?
Yeah, it seems to have worked wonders, eh?
Yeah,
Gary,
yeah. I'm happy you got them going. You know, just what we needed to not be able to work. Well played. But, I mean, we're up and running, and everybody, the people on the chat, Brent?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of people on the chat already coming in, all saying hello. And they all say the sound sounds fine now as well. Peter Paul coming in saying the sound is perfect. So we're ready to go, Gary. And Gary, what I'm looking for your opinion on, I was just talking now, of course, we've got these two games that have been cancelled now, the England game and the New Zealand game. Now, I guess in theory, they won't have too big a bearing on the actual log tables, although you're going to argue that a team like England now has a much easier run in terms of hard games in a row than what they did. But, of course, the big one everyone talking about now is Scotland against Japan. And that of course, I think they're going to make a decision on Sunday morning. What are your opinions on this? Because I can tell you I'm on social media, and a lot of guys are saying, in the interest of safety and that, but other people are saying there should have been a contingency plan.
Well, definitely. And, I mean, this is going to be really, really bad if it doesn't go ahead on Sunday. Because there's always going to be talk that they could have played it, and there's going to be somebody taking pictures from his hotel room and saying that the ground's now perfect and they could have gone ahead with the game. And it's all, if they don't go ahead, there's always going to be the stories that, you know what I mean, they didn't go ahead because of it suited Japan not to go ahead, you know. Now, whether that's the truth or not, we'll never know. First of all, we are also fighting with ourselves in the shower because there's no guarantee that the game won't go ahead. Far from it, you know what I'm saying, Brent? In my honest opinion, I think the one thing about cyclones, it's a say ejaculate and get into trouble from you again telling me it's a family show. But that's pretty much what cyclones are about. You know what I mean? This huge big whirlwind and everything, and they don't last very long. And then, you know, that's the thing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't think the cyclone's going to cause any damage, and I think they will have the game on Sunday. And I think that's crucial. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with you more to the point that there should be a contingency plan. There should be a day too. And if that doesn't work, that's life. You know what I'm saying? But there's such big gaps between every game. You could quite easily have had a reserve game, a reserve day put aside in all the games, Brent. I think everybody got a minimum of 4 or 5 days turnaround time. That's
what they could have. I think they could have made a contingency plan. I mean, there were even guys saying things like they could have, they could have flown them. I mean, you don't even have to. I mean, I appreciate the fact that there's 80,000 spectators or whatever that have to get refunded. But the most important thing is to play the game. And they could have flown the players a couple of hours to an indoor stadium. We could have had a couple of guys filming it on their cell phones if you had to, you know. I mean, obviously we want the perfect TV coverage and that. But the most important thing was that the game will be played. And it's very disappointing to me that won't happen. Of course, as a punter, it's disappointing as well because it's one less punting opportunity. And I'm sure as a bookmaker, Gary, you're not happy to see these cancellations either because presumably your turnover goes down.
Anything like this that happens that's not scheduled or unplanned for always has connotations one way or another. Brent, things that you haven't even thought about. You know what I'm saying? somebody's going to come up and say they backed any draw in the tournament, right? So now, technically, if you had backed a draw in the tournament in the group stages, right, are you entitled to get paid? I mean, I don't think so, right? But then having said that, there are 2 games less that you've had a chance for there to be a draw. You got a 0-0 on your total points, right? Is that fair to the people that help for those total points? You know what I'm saying, Brent? Italy, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, Italy, New Zealand, total points there, you missed out on 70-odd points. There's no doubt about that. You know what I'm saying? What happens if you're long, say you've gone long a guy like what's his name, Farrell? It's not, you know what I mean? He's not.
Yes.
Would have played Saturday or Saturday, Farrell. You missed out on that. So there's all these stories, and you know what I mean? So it's not good. It's not good for the game. And like we've said, I don't believe this World Cup has done anything to enhance the game of rugby to anybody in the world, whether it's diehard supporters like we are for a whole life of the game. So far, we haven't seen any positives come out of this World Cup. It can all turn around next weekend when the knockout phase starts, But to go back to your initial question, there should have been, in my opinion, a contingency plan. One day set aside, and definitely they have to do whatever they have to do to make sure Sunday's game goes ahead. And if it means Japan getting knocked out, rather go out, and they are a nation of honor and pride, rather go out with honor and pride than scale in through the back door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Gary. I must say, very, very disappointed to me that it's come to this. And I mean, in particular, that Japan-Scotland game, I must say, I'm quite bullish on the Scots. I've thought all along that they would probably win the game and book their spot. And it'll be a great pity if that doesn't go ahead. Just a couple of things on social media as well. A lot of guys saying, and I think the comment came up here earlier in the live comments as well, if it was New Zealand that were going out potentially with a cancelled game, the guys, I reckon there's no ways that they would allow New Zealand to be kicked out like that. Like Scotland, not quite as important. Whereas a New Zealand team that they've got no doubt that they'll make a plan. And it is hard to imagine New Zealand being sent packing in similar circumstances.
No, for sure. I mean, you have to feel sorry for Scotland if it does happen. I mean, they were dumped out of the last World Cup in the most unfortunate of circumstances as well to Australia, weren't they, Brent? They had all but booked their place. You know what I'm saying? And I think that late penalty.
That's it, Gary. We do seem to be struggling a little bit with your connection. I don't think it's my upgrades, to be honest, because the guys could hear me quite clearly. But we are struggling a bit with your connection tonight. One guy joking, Robert, asking if you're on dial-up. You are coming in a little bit inconsistency, but let's carry on. The guys can pick up the gist of what you're saying. I think just sometimes our timing's a little bit out. But Gary, let's go on to the games themselves this weekend. Obviously, with that England-France game no longer happening, perhaps one of the big betting heats taken out of it. But what have you got there for us on GG Gaming? What are the big games this weekend?
Well, there's not a hell of a lot anymore, right? There's obviously Scotland, Japan, and if that doesn't go ahead, then there's actually bugger all of any real interest and consequence now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, England-France was one of the big games of the tournament. There's no, so we miss out on that, which is very, very unfortunate. But now, and there's no Premier League, and there's a one-sided cricket match. I don't want to sound miserable or anything, but it's not turning into the weekend that we'd all hope for from a betting perspective. You know what I'm saying, Brent? It is very disappointing. Having said that, you know what I mean? There's certainly going to be some highlights and things that we can get our teeth stuck into and everything. And, we can't sit here and be miserable. We're blessed with the best sport in the world in South Africa, So let's look at the positives and, try to find something. Try to find a couple of winners for the boys, Brent? At least, you know what I mean? If you're a Spurs supporter, there's some good news for you. You don't have to watch your side get thrashed by 7 or 3 goals. If you're a Man United supporter, you don't have to watch your side get thrashed by a bunch of under-9 teams. So there's positives for everybody when there's no sport. You know what I'm saying, Brent? And I mean, the Italian rugby side, let's be honest, they're a lot better off not playing the All Blacks. Never mind, they're very brave now. You know what I mean? Paris and this, and they were planning. In fact, they're going to get a hiding by 60 points. You know what I mean? But maybe we should just touch on that for a second, Brent. What I found quite incredible, and we touched on just last week, is how these good sides against the minnows or the poor sides have opened, you know what I mean, in the first 15 minutes, all look like they're going to run away and look like they're going to win by 100 points. You know what I mean? Didn't South Africa, if I said to you at halftime, South Africa won, you going out and you phoned me 15 minutes later, and I said South Africa won by 100, you would have believed me. Am I right, Brent? Playing against 14 men.
Yeah, 47-0 at the break, Gary. And funny enough, I was on a WhatsApp with Henrik Swart, who's a firm believer that bookies overreact, or the market, let's put it this way, the market overreacts to red cards. And he was actually saying towards the end of the first half, I'm getting on the plus no matter what it is at halftime. And he ended up getting, I think, plus 89.5 at halftime. There was as big as, I saw, plus 92.5 available. And I mean, he was spot on. I think we won that second half 17-7. And as you said, halftime, if you told me we won by 100, well, I wouldn't have been surprised. The handicap was 90-odd.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were so poor in the second half, and we've seen it before. I mean, if you go back to the All Blacks Namibia, you would have thought that was 100 in the making. You know what I'm saying, Brent? And there have been a lot of games like that where, you just think in the second half, these sides are going to run away with it and just destroy them. But it hasn't happened yet, you know what I'm saying? And we don't really have too many opportunities for that to happen anymore, do we? I mean, it's got to come, much more strength against strength from next week, Brent?
Yeah, it certainly will. It's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. I mean, I've always said all along, for me, the quarterfinals are going to be really low-scoring affairs. It's going to be tactical kicking all the way. You mentioned the points bet earlier, Gary. It's quite interesting because a lot of punters joined me, and Henrik was actually the first to point it out on the unders, so under 2,615 points. And, of course, the guys are all getting nervous now. What are the bookies going to say? Are they going to say that it's a naught, or is it a no bet? And I can tell you what some of the spread firms do. They go up front and they say if a game doesn't take place, they give it an average. So they say, if a game doesn't take place, we're giving it 53 points, which is a very wise thing to do. But I'm not too sure that that all of the guys locally who might have offered those markets know about it. So I could see some quite interesting things going to be happening over the next few weeks.
Look, if it was up to me, I would just say, I like the idea, and I was going to always suggest at the beginning of the show, just do an average, and then, it's the fairest way of doing it. You can't take it as a 0-0, and you can't take it as a draw, I'm afraid. You know what I'm saying, Brent? It should have been, from a betting perspective, not that the organisers care about it, but it should have been called a no result, right? And it could have been a no result with 2 points.
That's it, for sure. I'm just checking that the guys are still in the line.
You need that, you need that rather than saying it's a 0-0 draw, because that is what they're claiming that it is, aren't they, Brent?
No, exactly. I mean, they're taking it as a 0-0. I know if you go back to that game, whenever I do my stats research on Super Rugby, there was that game between the Crusaders and the Highlanders where there was that tragedy in Christchurch and the game was given 0-0. But there's certain stats websites you go into, and of course it skews everything because you look at things like average points and all the rest of it. And the fact is those 0-0s both put in there, and you've got to be very careful about those sort of things. But Gary, I think let's maybe pick a game to have a competition for the 500 voucher, unless you've got anything else in mind.
No, let's absolutely do that. And what I'm going to do, there's not a hell of a lot, but next week I want everybody to bring as many people to the show as possible. I'm going to have a really big special next week, and my advice to everybody is have a few bets during the course of this week. I'm not going to let the cat out the bag completely, you know what I'm saying? But have a few bets with GG Gaming this week, because part of next week's special is going to involve the bets that you've had this week, right?
Okay, so get involved.
Get involved. I mean, that's where it is. Right, so let's go here and let's see what we've got here. Let's go Rugby World Cup matches and see if we can scrounge something out here for a special, Brent?
While you're doing that, I'm just actually popping onto YouTube to see if the guys are there. They are, and I'm going to watch the show on there now because for some reason the live comments are not coming up in the chat. As you said, the upgrades worked wonders for us here, Gary. So I'm not seeing it, so I'm popping on there. So you come up with a question, and I think the guys will hear it, no problem.
And I'm also... Okay, should we go for a fictitious game here? Let's go Wallabies versus Wales.
Wallabies versus Wales, okay. Who's going to win and by how many points? And obviously, guys, once again, we take the Wallabies score and we take the Welsh score. And that will... I quite enjoy these fictitious games, I must say, Gary. When South Africa ran up 49 points against Italy, I kind of knew then no one would probably win it. It would needed New Zealand to score like 100 points plus in their game, but it wasn't beyond the realms.
No, not at all. Okay, so that's what we're going for, and we're going to do that one. We're going to give away R1,000 betting voucher there, and let's go for let's do something in the Japan game because it is going to take place. Let's go for people to put in the finishing order of that group, right, Brent? Because that's far from decided, and the amount of stars each team will score. And only the 3 protagonists, only Ireland, Scotland, and Japan. Not the points. We don't want the points. We want the group finishing order and the tries that the 3 of those guys will score on the weekend in their game. If it's a no game, we're going to cancel the bet. We'll carry it forward. 2,000 Rand betting voucher for that. All right, Brent?
Okay, excellent. Just repeat that one for the guys, Gary, just to make sure. Sorry, I was looking at the live chat here. They're busy we're getting scores on the other game. Wales by 18. Well, let's call it the fictitious game. They're all starting to flood in now. Quite a big mixture there, by the way. Some guys going Australia, some guys going Wales. I would imagine a fictitious game. You'd have to fancy. What's Wales' handicap there in that game, Gary?
I'm not sure, but I mean the handicap doesn't really mean it means a bit, but not everything. Because remember, the others they're playing against other sides as well, right, Brent? So you know what I mean. People could think that Wales will score more points. So let me just get a quick idea here. Hold on 1 second. That was a 1-7 shot that my dad would phone during the show. And he's phoning to ask how he can watch the show. Right, Australia are 25.5. And Wales are, I want to just give you an exact number here. Wales are 44.5. So you'd think that Wales are going to be favourites in that one. Well, it's an interesting one. I'm going to go for Wales by 11.
Wales by 11. I'm enjoying this, Gary. I just said, unfortunately, there definitely is an issue with the StreamYard service we're using. So I can't pull the live comments up, and I'm not seeing them, but I'm watching them on my phone. And I enjoy the one comment from Joe Lyons in the live chat. He's saying, what's the fictitious weather forecast? Because, of course, now you've got to have a look at the weather forecast for both games. Yeah. But I think just mention that second competition again, because I have a feeling that we actually dropped off totally there. The boys lost us for a couple of minutes. So if you could just go through that one again, Gary.
Okay, so the next competition for 2,000 Rand, and it's going to be the finishing order of the Ireland group, right? In which order the top 3 teams will finish and how many tries each one of the 3 teams will score this weekend. Not interested in their points or anything, how many tries they'll score and the finishing order of the group. You have to get the finishing order of the group right to qualify for the tries. If you do that and you get it right, then we're going to give you 2,000 Rand. Otherwise, we'll carry it forward to next week. Where next week, I promise you, this has been a bit of a slow show, Brent, with the connection that we've had and everything and the, lack of really exciting sport this weekend. I'm going to make it up next week. We're going to go properly mad. You know what I mean? Bring your friends on and let's see where we are. I've got a runner next week, Friday. You know what I mean? I'll know more about him on Thursday night as well. It's going to be a good show.
Excellent. I'll say to the guys now, because we've been having the issues with the live chat as well, what we can do, guys, is if you watch the show afterwards, or if you want to do it, you can also comment below the show, and I'll just close that off. Obviously, when the first game kicks off in that group, we'll make that the den. So even if you haven't been able to get this one on the live chat, you'll be able to get it on there. But I see the guys are coming in with Ireland, Scotland, Japan. Says Nathan, he reckons Ireland will get 7, Scotland 5, Japan 2. So the boys are coming in the live chat. But for anyone who doesn't get on in the live chat and wants to still get involved in this one, we will allow comments down below the video as well. But Gary, I think that we should leave it at that probably for tonight, mainly because of all the issues here. I'm hoping it comes right for my next show, because something we try and which is going to be quite exciting is I didn't do it on this show, but and I'm a bit nervous for the next one now. But we're going live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time for the first time, so people can watch on YouTube. Sorry, Gary.
Let's try whatever we can, and maybe you and I should do like a test run on Wednesday and see that everything's in order. You know what I'm saying, Brent?
That's it. But sometimes with these, unfortunately, with either YouTube or these type of things, every now and again they go. So it hasn't been perfect, but the guys are getting their entries in. And yeah, it's been good chatting to you as always, Gary. And as you say, we have a bumper show next week.
We do it, and maybe we'll even start a bit earlier. Let the guys get it good for the game. We'll give the new starting time, and it's going to be we're going to give away a lot next week. Guys, I hope you enjoy the rugby, whatever there is of it, a little bit of the soccer, and we shall all meet up again on Thursday evening.
Excellent, Gary. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll speak next week. Thanks, Gary. And just to remind those of you that are watching now, we've got a few minutes, about 11 minutes until we start our rugby show, the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters, Thursdays at 9 o'clock. We'll see you then. We won't prolong this one anymore. Thanks for all of the boys who did watch in the live chat, and we'll see you in just a little while.